So I'm going to talk on this. I have said, right, I'd far rather talk about my enthusiasm for what the energy sector can do for climate change mitigation in New Zealand. Whether it's in the transport or the industrial heat area, I think there's some significant opportunities. Having said that, I've been instructed not to speak on that, so this will be a lot more boring. Sorry, no, it's not. All right, so let's start. So, the first thing is, what do we do? Well, actually, we're trying to make New Zealand a better place to live, environmentally, socially, and economically by the better use of energy. That's really simple, but actually, that's the essence of what we're trying to do. And when we look at that, we have a way in which we look at that. So in EECA, we're here to influence energy use across the economy. Warm, dry, energy efficient homes. In the budget just last week, that's being extended as a transition to the Residential Tenancies Act. Efficient, safe and low carbon transport. And notice we're bringing the carbon word into what we're trying to do. So that's really important, the convergence of energy and carbon going forward. And efficient and competitive lower carbon businesses. And again, that captures for me the sense that the energy side of things and the climate change side of things have a lot in common. And the trick is how we unlock that, but again, I'm not allowed to speak on that today. Keep going. So we have programs. Some programs are bloody fantastic, most work, and some don't achieve. So what are some of the things we've learned over the years when we think about that? And as Brian says, we get a huge number of requests for funding and ideas for programs, mainly from Brian Cox, but often from sensible people in the industry. So, and the thing is, this sector is full of passionate and tenacious advocates. And I think both those words are very powerful words describing people in this sector, and that's good. But when you're on the receiving end, you've got to be having your wits about you. So how do we pick a winner? We had some awards last week. Actually, this organisation called Lightfoot was the supreme winner of our Energy Efficient Awards. And they went out to the sporting community and said, have we got a deal for you? Can we make you all energy efficient in your sports clubs? And can we get some bucks in your pocket for sporting achievements? They thought outside the box. So in spite of all the worthy stuff from the industrial and the commercial, the residential sector, here was someone thinking outside the box. Part of my encouragement is using that is to say, I think there's some thinking outside the box things that we can do. So, here's some tests for this bright idea that Brian Cox has got. Does it advance the strategic objectives of the government? And from an energy point of view, is there a clear link to the New Zealand Energy Efficiency and Conservation Strategy or the wider energy strategy? How does it compare to other propositions? Because the facts of life is there are never enough resources to push all of them. And are there significant public good co-benefits? Seems pretty basic. But often those questions aren't asked or aren't thought about when people come to us. How can you influence a strategy? So one of the key things that I have learned, even though I'm old and thick, is actually in government we don't have all the bright ideas. And in fact, most of you think we don't have any ideas. Isn't that right, Mike Hudson? No, Mike says great ideas. I just picked on you because I saw you there. But the point I'm saying is, actually the best ideas are out in industry or whichever sector of New Zealand you're in, and there needs to be a way in which to interact. So at a strategic level, we have a strategy, a draft strategy going out shortly. We'd like to engage on that. But actually, really importantly, why aren't we talking to each other? And the answer is we are talking to each other in between these strategies. How do we get those conversations to take place? Brian, good on you. We had, and the BANS team, we have discussions with your team, and clearly with a number of other teams, again, to listen and to challenge what you're trying to put forward. So, and there are a series of things that come through. There's all the technology, so I'm not going to talk about that. But there's some macro changes when we realise in New Zealand we need to take a different direction. I think coming out of Paris, that was a macro change for New Zealand to say, we should look at what we can do in New Zealand to meet our climate change objectives. And if you say that, that sort of says energy is one of those things that we should be putting our hands up to look at. Understanding potentials. I'm an engineer. I love potentials, particularly potential differences. But anyway, there's a technical potential. So when we're getting enthusiastic about the future, we know that technology could deliver a million, zillion, whatever you like. And it's like the autonomous vehicle. Technically that will work. And the benefit is you pack vehicles very close to each other, get much greater use out of the infrastructure, far more energy efficiency, hopefully they're all electric, so they're on renewables, etc., etc. That's a technical potential. So Lyndon, how many of those have you bought for your company? Well, none, because they're still at the technical end. And then there's the economic potential, which is, you know, actually economically, I'm running the transport line, even though we're more than transport here. The total cost of ownership for EVs is generally cheaper than the total cost of ownership for an internal combustion engine. Well, that's pretty interesting. Have you seen the big rise in EV purchases in New Zealand with that bit of information? And the real thing is, it is the realisable potential. So I think, again, following this transport thing, if the price, and it's actually to me, when the price of EVs gets down below the price of an internal combustion engine, then I think you'll see a change. Except in New Zealand, where we all buy second-hand vehicles, when the price of a second-hand EV gets down below the price of a second-hand internal combustion engine, then I think you'll see there's a realisable potential. So one of the tricks in thinking about things for the future is, how could you accelerate the realisable part of the deal, which is where the benefits come, when you're still playing in the technical potential part of it, and that's the challenge. So my first question is, when you think about what you'd like to happen, how can you advance the realisable part? And in the transport thing, we've got this contestable fund that the government's announced, which is designed to encourage the not government part of the society to think of opportunities to accelerate EVs. Is the program needed? Is it happening already? What would happen, would it happen without government involvement? I can't understand coming and working for government why everyone thinks the government's got infinite wisdom, infinite funds, and just the people to go and see. And, you know, the theory of stage one economics is businesses are rational, Lyndon. They will do energy efficiency because it makes commercial sense. Well, actually, for a lot of businesses, energy isn't the dominant issue they face. Some of the big ones it is. So you've got to think about how you get the message across. When should the government step in? And a big part of what I see is the government needs to step in every day on every item. Here's the classic debate. I don't want to spend much time on this, but why hasn't the government pulled its lazy finger out and done something about PVs? Who agrees with that statement? Well, one or two. No more funny for you. So this is a fair question. Every other country in the world, people are saying the government is investing in PVs because it's a renewable energy form, it reduces our climate change, carbon footprint, etc., etc. And so you look at New Zealand that, well, there's an active PV industry. We're probably one of the only countries where there isn't incentives out there, but there's clear, strong public interest in an active industry. So on the con, I think we're sort of already 80% renewable electricity. We've got 20 years of low-cost renewables in the pipeline ready to come out. What's the public good in promoting PVs? Certainly is if you're not on the grid. And so what should the current role of government be? My biased view is about providing information and evaluation tools so people can make their own minds up. But that's sort of the debate that goes on. And we know there's a passionate community out there saying PVs are the way forward, and the government is just protecting their friends in the electricity sector by not doing it. And you can take the other view the other way. No more questions from you. So just, I mean, this is a serious debate for many people, but when you're thinking about the role for government to step in, there needs to be that sort of debate. I pick on PVs as just an example. So here's my thing. Well, why should the government be involved? And I think too many people say the government should be involved before the brain thinks about, well, why should it be? So that's my tip. Anyway, I've got more to say than that. So why do programs fail? This is a photograph of the toilet facilities of EECA. Why do programs fail? Well, some programs do fail. And sometimes they weren't strategically well thought out. The industry themselves wasn't understood where it's going to work. Why would you expect us in the public sector to understand the mechanics of supply chains? There were unexpected side effects. We had an installation program in New Zealand. In Australia they had one, and there were fires and electrocutions, etc. We understand that. And what were the barriers, and what are the motivations not understood? So quite a lesson for us is thinking about learning from what has happened in the past. And we do have one or two. Who's here from the marine energy industry? Oh yes, absolutely. I apologise for the next thing, but I get the same slide at your thing. Actually, this was an idea put forward by a previous government that we have zillions of metres of waves breaking on New Zealand's 19,000 kilometres all the time. We've got tidal flows, we've got ocean current flows, we may even have some thermal stuff out there as well. And there was a government scheme. We had 8 or 10 parties coming into that, none of them got across the line. None of them at all. And the government said, here's our money. So what are some lessons from that? Most applicants were focused on the technical parts of it. That's the trouble with letting engineers in charge of things. So technically they're worried about it, but actually most projects fail for non-technical reasons. And when you're thinking about that, you've got to think of the wider cross-section of the New Zealand that you're in. There was a failure to understand the community passion for foreshores and seabeds. In retrospect, we understand that. But hell, what's a few bloody marine devices sitting on the best surfing beaches? So, underestimated treated Waitangi issues, very difficult to find investors, people are pretty risk averse. Securing power purchase agreements, really, really challenging. Joint ventures fell apart because they couldn't work out between themselves. And actually in New Zealand we have some pretty unforeseen weather events. So there's a series of things that actually killed off all of the ones that put their hands up, although all had potential. And so really all I'm saying about this is not being negative, because good to give it a go. It's just saying there's a lot more to getting some of these things going up from a public benefit point of view than just simply getting a technical device in the water. Solar hot water heating. Brian Cox, where are you? In a previous life did you and I debate this? So again, this was a previous thing. We have so much sun falling on our roofs in New Zealand. Why do we heat water up by any other means apart from solar? Actually, I agree with that. We should be doing that. And there was a government scheme to encourage solar hot water heaters, and I still believe in them. But there were a few challenges. Brian, initially I think quality was not the best, that's me saying it politely in a mixed audience, and until you address the quality issues, then you're going to have great difficulty getting out in the marketplace. The costs of compliance were outrageous. Who works for a council here? I withdraw and apologise, but actually there were several $1,000s that some councils just needed to get to puncture a hole in your roof to do something. Establishing standards, excuse me. There were very few standards as to how you would install these things. Surely for quality you'd have the standards in the industry to do it. They were very expensive, perhaps compared to the rest of the world. Often it was a 20-year payback, and I know in our homes we are never rational in our decisions. It's a bit of a call to pay a 20-year payback. And actually, at the end of it all, it sort of didn't meet the public good case. So there were a series of things. I'm using it as an example because I think solar water heating is great. I think there's a case for it, but that's a separate debate. But it fell by the wayside because of these challenges. Lessons learned from on the road. So here are some programs that are on the go. I like these programs. There's so much energy can be saved driving heavy trucks, and we had a fuel-efficient tyre program. So we launched this thing, and the Arab and the oil-producing countries of the world said, let's reduce the price of fuel. This sort of took the heart out of the process. We in the government did not understand the supply chain issues, whether you're selling tyres or whether you're in the trucking business. We had some what we thought were the right views, and we got further to learn. We didn't understand some of the transport demand issues. When it's on, it's all on. You've got to get from A to B as quickly as possible. And we didn't understand some of the technology. These are both areas with significant potential to deliver. And the reason I'm raising this example is this is an opportunity for an industry to say, actually guys, if you want to work in this space, you need to know these things. So that's part of my challenge to this group. You mightn't be in the transport, you might be in the transport sector, but that feedback's really important. And so the challenge is, how do we modify these programs to get the benefits we know that are lurking behind them? Right light. Who's heard of that program? This is all about light bulbs. So this was started by the Electricity Commission, and good on them. And this is quite interesting, this particular one, because I dream of light bulbs each night, and I have thousands on in my house to keep me thinking about healthy energy efficiency. But actually, here's the thing about light bulbs. We have grown up on incandescent light bulbs as heaters in our house, and not as lights. And a process went through to say, what's the potential here? Significant potential here. How do we address the market? So it started off with information, marketing and subsidies. Each time you bought a beautiful compact fluorescent light bulb, you got a subsidy on the price of it. The market slowly moved and the call was made, actually, people are starting to get it. So why do you need to keep giving subsidies? So there's a strong marketing campaign. If you went to the supermarkets or the Bunnings, etc., you'd see that, and a lot of information out in the marketplace. And then the market changed a bit further, transformed, and the view was, well, actually, just keep the information there. You don't need to do a strong marketing thing. And actually now, in my view, the market has transformed. And people sort of say, well, actually, it makes sense to buy. And these new LEDs coming in the market, which are still really expensive, people are ready to transform into that marketplace. And here's the government gone in, done a program and transitioned and transformation and exited at the end. That, to me, is an important role for the government, and there was a public good benefit. Again, thinking about these fantastic programs you would like the government to do, that's quite a useful test. War in New Zealand, how many people live in an insulated house? No one. You should damn well pay for it, particularly
Not properly.
Well, that's because they've got a megawatt product in it.
No.
Sorry. So here was a program that actually has significant public good, but actually very little energy public good. Its real public good was in health and welfare. But from a national public good point of view, it met the test. And now it's gone to the next stage where it has been extended prior to a Residential Tenancies Act thing, which requires all rental properties to be insulated. So my thing is, there are programs out there that can meet all the tests. We need to think about how to do them. So top tip, know exactly what outcomes you want when you're coming and speaking to us. Know how you think you'll get there. Demonstrate you know a bit about the industry. Know what decisions you have to influence. Plan a convincing monitoring and measurement. And Marcus, I'd say that's the biggest challenge. Demonstrate you've done it, or demonstrate you can do it, because there's so many other areas that money can go in. And work with the willing. There's so many areas of opportunity. Work with those that are willing to work with you, because it makes the goal a bit harder. Now I was going to finish up on the 6-way government test. I'm but a Crown entity surrounded by my colleagues from government departments. You were foolish enough to ask me to speak, not the government departments. So this is my perception of the 6-way government test. Does the thing you're thinking about align with the government objectives? Because if it doesn't, you're wasting time. What's stopping it happening? Why do you need the government there? There's a big sector of the community that doesn't have the government all over it and still makes it work. What, if any, is the government role? And will the outcomes clearly provide public good? So the PVs are great for people in their houses. What's the public good part of it? So you need to keep asking that question. And will the outcomes be demonstrable? Can you demonstrate something came out of it and measurable? And will the government input, and I hate this word, be transformational, like the light bulb one? So that's sort of, and I'd much rather talk to them why I think there's great opportunities with climate change, but thanks very much.